Hey, it's your good sis Erica Vane back again with another Queen Sugar video. And in this video, we are talking about episode 10 from season 6, the finale. Let's go ahead and break it all down. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we're at the end. Season 6 was such an amazing follow up to the beautiful, dynamic, nuanced, and explosive season 5. And it was just announced yesterday that Queen Sugar will be ending with its 7th season. So when it returns next season, it will be the 7th and final season. They have had such a beautiful run, and I am so very excited for the culmination of this series. Last night's season finale did not disappoint. We got answers to some questions. We got seeds planted for what we're going to really explore next season. And in this video, I'm going to break it all down. But before I do, I want to remind you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can join the tribe and you don't miss any of my Queen Sugar videos in the future or any of my other amazing television breakdowns right here on this channel. The episode opens with Hollywood and Vi. They're getting ready for what looks like some kind of little covert mission. You know, Vi has packed Hollywood a lunch, got him a little bit of coffee, and he seems like he's about his business. And, you know, Hollywood don't really make too many mistakes, so we just gonna go with it. I was a little concerned, but then I'm like, all right, it's fine. Vi seems to still be on the mends after, you know, her chronic flare-up of lupus from a few episodes ago, and they're about their business. From there, we get to see Nova finally break the amazing news to Ra and Charley about the historical site and the potential for getting their farmland, Ra's farmland, declared and protected so that they don't have to worry about what Landry tries to do, and this get it once and for all. We've seen from episode 1, season 1, that this was a thing. The Landrys have been trying to get this Bordelon farm for the last 6 years, and in perpetuity, honestly, because their ancestors, it was the same thing. Vi talks often about, specifically like we saw in previous episodes, with her talk to Sam Landry about how their ancestors fought over the same land. And Nova, with the help of Dominic, has finally gotten to a place where she has figured out how to stop the fighting. It ends with this generation. It ends with these three. They're going to get the farm declared as a historical site, and we love to see it. When we pick back up at Hollywood, we see that he has gone and he is looking for Theo. He just is playing with like some local guy in another parish, asking about Theo, and then it literally hits you like a light comes on, like, oh, he's going to find Theo. He's going to bring him back to St. Joe's Parish because they are not taking any of this line down anymore. And we love to see it. We get a moment where Charley talks to Vi about what Nova just broke down to them in the historical site and everything. And at the start of the episode, everything is really on the up and ups and like just looking bright. Even Prosper and Billy, they have been talking throughout episodes prior about her actually moving back to St. Joe's Parish. And she actually discloses to him that she's in a relationship, but she hasn't been able to commit. And there's still some underlying trauma and things from Jimmy Dale that could have impacted how she's navigating in this relationship. So we get to see them having a very sweet and intimate moment. We get to see Micah actually making up with Isaiah, and they actually, you know, kind of had like a little bit of falling out or tension surrounding the male chauvinistic patriarchal comments made by one of the farmers at the gallery open 2 episodes back in reference to them seeming too close. And as we saw in last episode, when Nova and Micah had a conversation about his intimacy and love for Isaiah, he was really getting to a place of trying to discern how he feels, make, you know, heads or tails of different things, but he wanted to make sure that he actually, you know, made amends and apologized and was able to be honest with Isaiah. And I felt like their conversation throughout this episode was one of the most beautiful conversations that I have seen depicted by Black men on television ever, y'all. Like, I'm still processing it, but it was just so organic and natural and honest. And I know I say nuanced a lot, but it was very, very nuanced. I'm like, oh, it was truly chef's kiss. In this episode, Ralph Angel gets the final piece of the puzzle in reference to getting all of the farmers together for the co-op, pooling the money that they won from the state and that lawsuit that they had earlier on in this season, and going after larger plots of land to try to reclaim their community as well as protect themselves financially moving forward. And Cardell was the last farmer holding out. Now they have all 21 farmers who have signed up and they're going to go after a shopping center that the Landrys actually wanted, but it turns out to be a really beautiful, great piece of land to add to the portfolio or to start the portfolio with. This becomes a key because it is the last bit of leverage needed once they actually confront Parker later on in the episode about the historical site. So they can't seize the land. She still wants to take the land. And then when they bring up Theo, who Hollywood actually did find in another parish, brings back and he starts to admit to everything and says that he's going to say what happened so that Ralph Angel can be cleared of any charges. And then the shopping mall. The shopping center is something that the Landry Holdings really, really wanted. And when they say, oh, we're about to buy this up, and they get preferential treatment or they get first look as the black farmers who are of this community, which would stop the Landrys in their tracks from acquiring it, that becomes the final nail in the coffin of like killing the Landrys' acquisition of the land of the Bordelon farm, getting them to shut down, trying to come after Ralph Angel and throw him in jail, and basically starts to help put everybody back on offense and in a position that's not under the Landry's thumb. Now, the only thing that I will say about this is that Ralph Angel went out and sold this dream in reference to this particular piece of land, the shopping center, to all of the farmers. So when they make the deal with Parker to give her the shopping center so that they can keep the land and keep Ralph Angel out of jail, I'm wondering next season, how are we going to break this to the farmers of like, oh yeah, we're not going after this piece of land anymore. We had to give it up. And will anybody push back and fight back about that? Cardell is one of the farmers who's within the black farmers community who is the most vocal, and I could definitely see him being the last one holding out and being very apprehensive coming to the table to be annoyed and cause problems when the plan has shifted. Now, aside from these Landrys, we got really, really beautiful love moments. We got the confirmation of Nova and Dominic in this episode when he has a very, very honest revelation to her in reference to telling her that he wants this to be different. He didn't want to go too fast, but don't get it twisted. He's still very much so into her and wants to be able to give her any and everything that a woman could want and should have. It's like the tender care and like intentionality and the directness for me. Like, Dominic is a man who is super grounded in who he is and knows what he wants, and he wants Nova. And it's so great to see her energy match in this way because she's very much so like this or like him, but in feminine form. And I love the conversation that they have about she can no longer change herself, try to change herself, and is done explaining herself to people. So people who come into her life moving forward, if they're going to be there, they have to accept her as she is and not need no how-to manual on Nova Bordelon. You just need to get with it or get lost. And he said he getting with it, okay? And we love that for her. Also, in the love spectrum, we get to see Charley and Davis reconnect. He pops up on her as a surprise while he's on a layover, and Charley really has a whole revelation in of herself of like she doesn't necessarily want to live this grind life that she's also now submitted herself to in this whole run for Congress. She decides in this episode that she's moving back to California. It almost feels like now that the farm is taken care of and protected, she doesn't have to do this fight anymore and her mission is complete. So she also feels okay to go back, and she tells Davis that she will marry him. They are going to have their house. She's going to be with him, and she's going to allow herself to choose herself in her life more. And that starts with choosing their relationship because it truly makes her happy. And I was just like literally blushing and ding on their tears every step of the way in watching this episode. It was just so expertly done. Now, with all the goodness that's happened in this episode, some of the things that I'm looking forward to them actually expounding upon next season is what's going to happen with the farmers who have come together to try to buy this shopping mall now that they've promised it to the Landrys in exchange for everything else that they wanted. We're definitely going to see Parker again. The Landrys are not people who actually take a beating lying down. It's so annoying, but we're going to see that as they're going to have a little bit of tension in their 7th and final season. It'll probably be the most explosive that we've ever seen. What's going to happen with Micah? Like, now that he has had a conversation with Isaiah in this episode, they come to common ground and they're a little bit clear in reference to where they stand in each other's lives. That's beautiful to see. But then now what happens? I'm interested to see how he continues to go forth and live and be embracing his love for Isaiah, being vocal and how he wants to be in public about this, but then also still getting back into dating and then managing other people's gaze and expectations and all of the things that we started to see in this particular season. I'm interested to see what it looks like as Charley rebuilds her life in LA and standing alongside Davis. I think that they are actually going to make it, and I'm hoping that season 7 proves that to be true. And at the very end of this episode, we see Ra and Darla welcome their baby girl, or at least start to, because she goes into labor. And I'm so excited next season to see what does it look like with this new life on their land and how they make everything work. Y'all, that is my full breakdown of the season finale from season 6 of Queen Sugar. Thank you so much for watching my breakdowns throughout this season. I love you all so very much for watching, and I adore having these conversations weekly with you. I cannot wait till season 7 returns. But again, in the meantime, hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my breakdowns of other great, amazing television and films that are premiering each week. Until next time, have a beautiful day. I love you.